So listen, you worked under the Clinton White House. Clinton is the one who appointed Justice Breyer. He's now resigning. Amisha and I were saying, Joe Biden made the promise a while ago during the campaign that he will appoint a Black woman. I think we all know that's going to happen. Okay, two questions for you. Amisha said she doesn't see any kind of threat to this appointment being challenged. It appears it's going to be pretty clean, but I don't trust the Dixiecrats, Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. I just don't trust them. So I won't believe it until I see it. I want to know your thoughts on that. And secondly, I want to know, you've been on the show. You've been very frustrated about what the Biden administration hasn't done. You have been saying things they have done, but what they haven't done. And would this be a key move for the midterms to say, yes, I appointed a Black woman to the Supreme Court? We didn't get voting rights done. We didn't get that George Floyd Policing Act, but this was a promise that I was able to keep, and I did it. Will that have an impact on the midterms for Black voters? Go ahead, Keith.
Well, I think you raised some good points. Yes, first of all, I was there when Stephen Breyer was nominated to the Supreme Court. I was in the Rose Garden, I think, when President Clinton made the nomination. That was back in 1993, I think, and it's time for a new justice. I'm glad he finally retired. It's a recognition of the fact that a lot of us have been pushing him for to retire even last term, because there's no guarantee that Mitch McConnell in the Senate will let any Democratic nominee for the Supreme Court be confirmed this year or any other year if they have control of the levers of power again. In terms of the second question, does that mean that this will be a clean fight? I don't know. I think Amisha is right in her sense that this doesn't change the balance of the court. Having a progressive, a Biden appointee doesn't change the 6-3 tilt toward the right. And so in that sense, it's not in the interest of every Republican to fight, go total warfare. But on the other hand, Mitch McConnell has every interest in sort of embarrassing Joe Biden and giving him another defeat for just for the sake of it and hurting him in the midterms. So I could see how McConnell might and a few others might do what they can to push some resistance to this. You know, there are a couple of names have been bandied about. A lot of names have been thrown about. I think Ketanji Brown Jackson is a top pick that people are talking about. She's currently in the DC Court of Appeals. She's young, I think 51, and she has been confirmed by the Senate in the past, just a year ago, to the DC Circuit Court of Appeals. So she's, I think, a top pick. Leandra Kruger is another top pick here in California, in the California Supreme Court. She's also a young Black woman. And a third pick who I think, I won't say is not as likely, but someone who I would really be excited about, and a lot of progressives would be excited about, is Sherrilyn Ifill, who's just a little bit older. I think she's 59, but she's also very well respected in legal circles and progressive circles. So I expect there might be some kind of a fight, just even for the sake of the formality of it. It's kind of like just to see if they screw up or something. Something that wasn't checked in the background, but I don't think it's going to be as hard a fight as you would see in other circumstances. And finally, in terms of your last question, the midterm effect. Yes, I think this could have an impact on the midterms. I don't know how dramatic it is because it depends on what kind of fight the Republicans put up. But if Biden puts up a young, progressive, powerful Black woman to the Supreme Court and the Republicans resist it, that's bound to help him to some extent. He's already on the ropes because of the voting rights failure. So he does need something to sort of change the focus. This could be that thing if he's willing to go out there and fight for it. So we'll see what happens after that.
So y'all aren't worried about Sinema and Manchin for this. I know, Misha, you said you ain't stressed about it. You ain't stressed. So Keith, nothing to worry about with those two.
Well, they voted for Ketanji Brown Jackson.
They did, but they Dixiecrats.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were 3 Republicans, I think, who voted for her too. There was Lindsey.
I know, but hold up, y'all. Wait a minute. But a Black woman on the Supreme Court. Y'all know that train is never late. Y'all know it's.
Well, here's the thing. There have been 115 Supreme Court justices in the entire history of the United States. 108 of them were white men. That's 94% of all the Supreme Court justices in our country's history. And white men are only 29% of the population. Biden made a promise during the campaign he was going to appoint a black woman. We all knew this was going to happen. There's 81 million people voted for him in knowing that or in spite of that. And now it's his duty to deliver on that. He has to follow through. And if he doesn't follow through on that, I don't see how he can ever hope to expect black people to take him seriously ever again. So I fully expect him to do that. But Republicans can fight all they want, and I don't see any reason why Manchin or Sinema or anybody else would resist this, because it's not gonna help them. I don't think in terms of their position in the party or their position in their own states, quite honestly.
Go ahead, Amisha.
No, I was going to agree with that. I think that we might have seen a different type of tilt if this was going to reshape the Supreme Court. It's quite frankly not. It's going to be historical, yes, in the same way that appointing Justice Sotomayor was historical, but it's not going to change the shape of this Supreme Court. Republicans are going to fight because that's what Republicans do. Like, it riles up their base. If there is a black woman that's appointed, if there was just a liberal justice appointed, regardless of race, they would still, try to drum up their base to fight against it. They're going to use it to try to get their base out in many of the same vein that Democrats are going to use to try to get their base out. I expect to see this fight go through and through, but I don't think that Manchin and Sinema are going to be stalwarts in trying to block an appointee at this point. It does not behoove them. And it's quite frankly not something that I think is on their radar in terms of disrupting this administration. They're more concerned with chomping away at voting rights, chomping away at the parceling out of Build Back Better. I still think that there are parts of that agenda that they're not going to vote yes on, regardless of how small they become. And that's basically the vein that they're working under right now.
And another thing too, Clay, is that this is actually a gimme, if you will, an easy vote for Republicans who claim that they're not racist. This is a great way for them to prove, oh, I voted for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, or I voted for this Supreme Court justice, the black woman for the Supreme Court that Biden nominated, knowing good and well that it doesn't make a difference in terms of the outcome of the Supreme Court. So that way, when the next person comes up who does influence the Supreme Court, then they can go hard and say, no, I'm opposed to this person, and I voted for that black woman. So that's exactly the strategy if that Republican's going to take.
Well, wait,
Republicans will take.
How do y'all think Cotton of Congress is going to vote? Senator Tim Scott, what do you think Cotton of Congress is going to do?
I've given up on him a long time ago. He didn't vote for Ketanji Brown Jackson, so I don't expect he's going to vote for whoever Biden nominates. And I don't see, he's Clarence Thomas in the Senate for me. I don't see what his end game is other than to step and fetch for the white man.
Well, I got to be step and fetch. Cotton of Congress. Mm-hmm. So South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham released a statement on Justice Breyer. He said, if all Democrats hang together, which I expect they will, they have the power to replace Justin Breyer in 2022 without one Republican vote in support. Elections have consequences, and that is most evident when it comes to fulfilling vacancies on the Supreme Court. I like that line, which I expect they will.
This answers your first question. Everybody expects Sinema and
which I expect they will. Something about that line.
With that statement, it's really a shady statement.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not about elections have consequences and he thinks Democrats are going to do this. It's really justifying his blatant, over-the-top, hypocritical, backtracking reversal with Amy Coney Barrett. Remember when Barack Obama nominated Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court, it was Lindsey Graham, the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, who said, you mark my words, if there's a Republican president in 4 years in 2020, and that Republican president nominates someone in the last year of his term in office, I will oppose having a nomination for that person. And then he reversed his own statement in 2020 when Trump nominated Amy Coney Barrett. So he's now trying to pretend oh, well, I'm going to respect the fact that elections have consequences. He doesn't believe that. If he believed that, he would have let Barack Obama appoint his Supreme Court nominee back in 2016. It's blatant hypocrisy and dishonesty. It's disingenuous lies. I was trying to come up with a more a subtle word for what I really wanted to say.